moviegoers, and welcome to another edition of Have You Seen It? I am your host, Denise, and this week I am reviewing a movie that just came out, I believe it was March 15th. So I really wanted to get into the theater to see this movie. It's called One Life, and it stars Anthony Hopkins, Lena Olin, Johnny Flynn, and Helena Bonham Carter. Okay, this movie is about a gentleman. This is based on a true story. A gentleman by the name of Sir Nicholas Nicky Winton, who was a young stockbroker from London who, through valiant efforts leading up to World War II, he rescued 669 children from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia to the UK. Now, needless to say, this was quite an undertaking. When the movie starts, you have Nicky Winton as an older gentleman living with his wife, and she's about to go on holiday, but she is really concerned that his office, his home office, is just cluttered with books and papers. I mean, piles and piles of papers and drawers full of papers. And she's been trying to encourage him to, get rid of this stuff. It's been a long time since you have accumulated all of this, and I think it's time for you to let go. So, of course, he's kind of going back and forth. Oh, I'll take, it into consideration and think about moving some things around. So the movie alternates between that time in the 1930s to the present day that you see Nicky as an older gentleman. And what he does is, once he hears about, the children that are in, danger once this occupation of Czechoslovakia really goes into full force, he travels there and he sees the families with their children, and they are in desperate situations, living in very crowded outdoor spaces amongst each other. Their shelter is limited. Their food and water and sustenance are all limited. So you've got, people begging for money, people begging for whatever food you might have. So this is the situation that he encounters when he first sees the situation. And his concern, again, is, wow, there are these children. What's going to happen to the children if they don't have families, if they don't have parents, if they don't have extended family members? So what he does is, he thinks about this, and it troubles him so much, and he becomes, desperate in that, I really want to do something about this. So he has, gets together some of his associates, tells them what his plan is, and of course it sounds far-fetched and just something that is above and beyond his capabilities. But they put their heads together and they work tirelessly to organize all of these children, explaining to the families, we're going to take your children to the UK. You will be reunited with them. This is the plan, to have you reunited with them at some point. but we are going to secure families for them that will temporarily take care of your children until you can be reunited. So all of the logistics that went into this undertaking, you had to first advertise and find families who are willing to take on these children. You had to, money had to be raised, funds had to be raised, children had to secure passports and identifications, and the parents had to agree to let their children be taken on this journey, hoping to see them again. So you have trains coming into Czechoslovakia, and these children being put on these trains and separated from their families with basically the clothes on their back and maybe some personal items in a suitcase. Nikki took pictures of each and every child, for record keeping purposes, and obviously to secure those, documents that would get them out of Czechoslovakia into the UK. And again, the movie goes from the 1930s until his present day as an older gentleman. And once all of this was done, the torment that he experienced as he got older, the travel of these children was successful. 669 children were saved because of him. But the last train that was to, transport those last groups of children is what troubled him, because those were the ones who could not be saved. And I thought it was a very, very interesting history lesson. I did not know this man existed. I didn't even know this part of history at that particular time. So it was very interesting to watch. And Anthony Hopkins was Anthony Hopkins, as usual, the great actor that he is. Towards the end, when everything is said and done, the ending is very touching. The ending is very touching. So I'm not going to give that part away, but take a look at this movie. I think you will enjoy it, especially if you are a history buff. I think this movie is the one for you. So, One Life, starring Anthony Hopkins, is my movie for this week. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my Nailed It. And my Nailed It for this week is a gentleman by the name, he goes by one name, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Miyavi. And he portrayed a very evil character in the movie Unbroken. And he was the POW Japanese sergeant that captured a gentleman by the name of Louis Zamparini, who was an Olympic champion, and he was captured by Japanese. And this sergeant, zero affect, could care less, gave zero you know what, but he was sadistic. His tactics were humiliating, degrading, and cruel, not only to all the POWs, but specifically to Zamparini, once he realized that, oh, you are the American Olympian. So he really, put his foot on his neck in very horrific fashion. So he is my Nailed It. Talk about evil. Miyavi in that particular movie was just that. All right, folks, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. And we are available on every podcast platform in the universe. Just type in, "Have you seen it?" with Denise, and there I will be. All right, moviegoers, until next week, you know what to do. I need you to go see a movie because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.